Well, Sagittarius, that hard and debilitating energy of Mars and Saturn, which is hovering near your sun sign now, is nicely counteracted by the Sun and Venus in your 7th house in Gemini. Although that too has been a little bit of a problem, now passing after the 2nd, we see what's called combustion of Venus. And Venus actually, as well as generally ruling relationships, is your 6th ruler and your 11th ruler. The 6th house is your workplace. It's also to do with open enemies. And the 11th house is friends. So there could be some problems associated there with friendship. Something that quickly arises, also shown by the Moon and Uranus in your 5th house of romantic affairs. Something suddenly that flares up, a misunderstanding perhaps, could be a romantic infatuation even. But that quickly cools down, shown by the movement of the passing Sun over Venus in this marital sector. There's a new moon also in that area. So what this could do for you is set the stage for a deeper understanding of the protocols in relationship, you know, what you should and shouldn't do. It's sort of like romantic etiquette, if I could call it that. So there's a new moon there in the marital sector for you, Sagittarius. And then also the transit of Mercury, which is the ruler of this 7th house, taking place on the 13th. So around the middle of the month, some pretty special things are going to take place. Sun is going to take its hot burning energy away from Venus, leaving you there with the purely beneficial rays of Venus, making you attractive, enamoring you to others, giving you some greater social graces and charm. So it looks like those initial sparks will pay off for you. We see there are some issues associated with Mercury. I'm focusing a little more on your relationships this month, as you can see. The hard aspects there, starting on the 21st of Mercury to Saturn, that's an opposition. That's challenging your thinking. That's also challenging your partner. That could show that your partner may clamp up, they don't want to talk. There's some reason for that, but the worst thing you can do, especially because right now with Pluto in your 2nd house, is you want to jackhammer through a problem without due consideration for the other person's feelings and the appropriateness of what they require. They may need a little bit of time, a bit of space. It's respectful for you to give them that while these transits are taking place. Sometimes too, a person just can't grasp what's going on. They need to, you know, just allow the idea to percolate. You could be a little bit quicker in understanding something this month, and you need to respect the other person's requirement for more time to assimilate those ideas that are on offer. The Neptune square also on the 21st. That could be an idealistic difference because Neptune is a spiritual planet. And for yourself, if you're relying on your intuition, I'd be saying around that period of the 15th to the 22nd, that 1 week period there, you maybe need to rely more on your intellect than your intuition because that could give you some false signals. You could be excessive in the way you give your opinions, which is sometimes one of your traits. You don't mean any harm by that, but Sagittarians are known generally to be very, very frank, correct? Well, you might be a little bit too frank around the 23rd and leading up to that date with Mercury moving into the square of Jupiter. That again is a primary red flag relating to your relationships because, of course, Jupiter is your ruling planet and Mercury is ruling your significant other relationships. So best not to be too opinionated about that time. It's also best not to rush headlong into any agreements. You may be so enthused, you might have had one too many San Miguels. Don't rush in and give an endorsement or a commitment until that transit passes. things do improve by the 27th, and then around that time with the sextile of Mercury to Uranus, again in your 5th house of speculation, love affairs, sports, children, connecting with the inner child, that's a far more favourable aspect. And then too, Mercury moves into the 8th house of intimacy and sexuality at that time. So they're looking like better aspects for you to get your relationship back on track. On the 30th, another important aspect, just following the full moon, which is going to take place in your finance sector, is the movement forward. Well, it's actually what we call a stationary movement of Mars, moving forward in your 12th house of expanse. So this has some connotations for your finances and an improvement thereafter. That's it in a snapshot. As I've been saying to some of the other star signs, let's just call it Dadhichi's Oracle Express. You can get a more beefed up version of this though if you want by visiting astrology.com.au. There we have the text versions of this, because this is just basically the tip of the iceberg. Lots more there, daily readings, and also in context with what's happening for the rest of the year in 2016. Till next month, take care. It's been great having your company. Bye-bye now.